Can you read upside down? Oh, okay, so can you please open this? Because anyway, I was trying to think of something awesome to say, and it's all in the box. So
it's all in the box. Yes.
There's no point in talking, and we'll just look.
So yeah, there's this that I've been working on.
Whoa!
And I'm happy with it. I'm really happy with it. It's a nice piece.
Wow!
It's a bit of vintage. I mean re-release, but vintage back in the day. So yeah, it's come out quite nice, and so I just thought I'd bring it over and we could put it up on the channel and have a look. Yeah, it's so of course for those who may be unfamiliar with exactly what this is the Schumacher Cat XLS, and that's the original box art that's there. I didn't want to go with the original box art, so I went something a little bit different. I kind of followed this pattern. I think we talked about it earlier on the channel, that this blockhead motors. I really enjoyed this look and feel. They really went for a vintage decal sheet, and so I transposed some of those decals onto this. So yeah, it's come out quite nice. You can see that the color pattern, or the color, came from this. You've got that sort of turquoise red, and then the orange, and so yeah, there it is.
I'm so speechless.
Of course, this.
Oh my goodness!
This was being built as my 2021 USTE 4-wheel drive buggy contender.
Champion is what he means.
So yeah, that's why this was built, to compete in that. Don't know if we'll get there this year because of certain restrictions and so on and so forth that everyone knows. So it may cure for a year and show up in 2022, but that was its original intent, was to compete at USTE.
Okay, I'm a little bit without words because for two reasons. I've been playing with Tamiyas and Kyoshos for a long time, and this thing is an engineering level like fivefold what you get on those vehicles. My mind is totally exploded. Okay, I just can't believe the amount of awesome sauce that's in here.
It's a really nice kit. I will say that building it was different than Tamiya or Kyosho, but you can, as Chris said, you can see that we're really thinking the engineering side of it. It was and correct me if I'm wrong, those out there, the 86 or 87 world champion. I think the guy in the corner there sort of proves it. So, and you know, when building this, I really see what they were trying to do. They were trying to make this as light and as nimble as possible. And you can see in the materials that they used that it was obviously very light and nimble, and I'm excited to get it onto a track and go for a rep with it. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun to build.
This is so perfectly made that the slide shafts on the front axles, when you move the suspension up and down, the slide shafts do not slide.
Yeah.
That's how perfectly it's made.
Yeah,
it's geometrically perfect.
No bump steer. It really looks like a performer. So yeah, it's been a fun build. I've got a few more details to do it. Of course, in the world of realism or scale, I want to put a driver's head in there, and just do a little bit of interior to it. Not too much, just to show that there is a pilot behind this thoroughbred. I've never built a Schumacher before. I really enjoyed building this Schumacher. I think there's a bit of a mixed review because those who are used to Tamiya or Kyosho have that sort of mindset going into this. But this is a bit of a different engineering platform on this one for sure.
This thing has swinging bulkheads.
Yeah, yeah, it's really clever. Whereas if you get
Wow.
a front end hit, the whole suspension can shift. You can see the rubber bands there. The whole front suspension can give a little bit, which I find amazing. So that if you're in mid race and you end up in the guardrail, you're not gonna be out. So yeah, exactly.
That was me.
Yeah, I didn't do a lot of racing. Did you do a lot of racing back in the day? I did a little bit, but
I did, and not so far back in the day either. I mean, maybe 10 years ago I was still racing buggies.
Right. I did a little bit of the MO5 mini stuff.
Oh yeah?
That was a lot of fun. But yeah, so this was definitely an interesting build. I'd love to take the cover off and show a little bit more underneath the skin.
So, Lexan Wing.
Yeah.
Typical Lexan body, but then it's got a complete painted underbody. Is this also another piece of Lexan?
Yeah, another piece of Lexan that was painted again. So, yeah, and again, I go back to the materials that they used. They were obviously trying to lighten it up.
Wow.
Whereas you may see this part here as a complete plastic or something to that effect when it's Tamiya or Kyosho or metal.
Yes, you do actually.
You know?
They make a full flat underbody.
Right. So this is Lexan, and it's as light as a feather. So I can imagine it's quite a ripper on the track for sure.
I would love to have the experience of building this car. Because it's so much more awesome than I thought it was going to be.
It was fun. Of course, you can see with the exterior, you can see that again the sort of the same pattern as used on the original box art with the black, the red, and the yellow. I've sort of mimicked that, and then I even went and used a lot of the same decal sheets.
Yeah.
But then I added the blockhead motors, which I really like, and they've got a cute logo. You know, they've got that turtle you can see on the nose and on the side. And that's reminiscent of the frog or the hornet, back in the day when they, Tamiya had those sort of themed vehicles.
That turtle is reminiscent of David Krieger's driving.
There is something special in this, and it's Ben Jones. He had given me... Thank you. He had had an extra one, I believe, and so he was lucky enough to donate into this. You can't really see it, unfortunately, in this design. The motor's quite hidden, but it's got the Trinity?
Yeah.
Monster horsepower 1987 motor. And
oh yes,
such a popular motor back then. I remember having one back then, and I think I sold it in a kit or in a car, and was a little disappointed that went. So I had mentioned it and managed to acquire another Trinity Monster horsepower 1987 world champion. So it fits, like this is the car that won that year. This is the motor. I don't think he had that motor in there, but it's a good tie-in. So. 4-wheel drive, belt driven, real kick-ass transmission in it. It's been a fun build.
I'm just so completely blown away. This is a total facade. This thing.
Yeah.
Because it's got the tiniest chassis inside there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got that old school fiber chassis to it,
Yeah, graphite or fiberglass probably.
Yeah.
G10.
Yeah, something to that effect. And all lightweight parts.
Wow, man. This is so nice.
Thank you.
This is so nice.
Put a small little lipo in the center there, well balanced, and this thing is going to rip. It's got the oversized shocks even back then. I can imagine it's going to be a quick vehicle.
Whoa.
Yeah. So of course we'll probably when the weather is a little more conducive, we'll get a running video on this and show you what it's all about. But there are a bunch of people that built this, and I've seen a few videos, and it looks like a pretty quick vehicle.
But it's so nice.
Yeah. It's at the egress, the Tamiya egress level.
Now I'm starting to pick it up. That sort of really high-end Evolution suspension, kind of next level.
Yeah.
I see. I don't know why I had in my head this was going to be like, the real typical sort of mainstream four-wheel drive buggy.
Right.
But It's so not, but that makes sense now. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think it's a British car, and Schumacher I think is a Brit car, and they went after it in '86 or '87. They wanted to get the world championship, and they got a Japanese driver, and away they went, and they won the championship that year with this vehicle. So it's an egress. It's at that level, and it's going to be quite the to compete against the likes of Dave Krieger and Kevin Lukes and all those guys. They are quite the racers, and I hope to have brought it to USDE to compete against them. Next year for sure. Dude, I painted the rims. The paint were sort of a flat black, and I wanted to mimic the look on the box art, so I gave those just a trim clad black, and they popped out really nice, really nice.
Wow, they're gorgeous.
Yeah, for sure.
What an incredibly nice car, man.
Thank you.
I mean, it's really, really nice.
Yeah, it's legit. Again, the biggest feature for me, or the one that was like an eye-opening for me, was the fact that the front suspension can have a bit of give with the with the elastic bands across the front.
Tell me, did you have to pre-cut all the Lexan too, or like did it just come in a big typical blob and you have to scissor it all out?
That's right. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, for sure. And that was somewhat difficult. There was a lot of fit and finish when it came to that. But it as long as you sort of follow the pattern, it comes out well. This is very fragile. That frustrated me beyond belief. But it's super fragile. And I had to glue it back together. And anyways,
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I learned something though, and this is a tip that I learned when I was spray painting this wing. Of course, it's Lexan, so I'm spraying from underneath. Yeah. And for those who know, like anytime you're spray painting something with a tight sort of crease in it, try to get the paint up in here. In those creases so that you actually see the paint through the plastic. And oftentimes it starts to fade up at the top because you can't get the paint in the crease. So I had painted it, and then once I was done, I realized that I wasn't successful, and I just couldn't live with myself. So what I did is, of course, the paint on this side, no problem. On the face of the wing was no problem. Yeah. And so I masked each winglet, I masked it and painted it on the outside. So that's actually the Lexan paint on the outside rather than on the inside to actually give me good coverage. You wouldn't be able to tell because it's so minor, and I masked it in such a way that it wouldn't show up that bad.
No idea.
But it really sort of then finished it off or polished it off. So that was a little bit of a trial and error and a tip that I just sort of discovered, and it seemed to work out well. So the finished product I'm happy with. I think the orange I kind of missed a little bit, which is my only disappointment in my own personal part of this, was that orange didn't match this particular orangey color. So, if you see... So, I was a little disappointed in that. But other than that, I think it's still a nice color combination, and that's why I actually didn't put any of these ones on, the ones with the tricolor. I went with the ones that didn't have any color on them. Yeah. But I think it tied in well. So yeah, I'm excited, man. I wish we were in Florida. I wish we were ripping this thing around.
Oh my goodness.
It would be so much fun.
Well, let's hope the weather clears out really soon over here so we can take this thing out and give it a big ripping.
Go for a rip, you bet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing that, man.
No problem. Well, thanks.
Oh, that is really friggin' awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. 4-wheel drive buggy, eh?
Yeah, no kidding, eh? Oh, I wish we were racing, I wish we just could just get on a plane and fly to Florida and rip around in some sort of awesome track at USDE. But you bet.
Okay, well, yeah, I don't know. You've shocked my brain. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If there's anything that you know about with these cars that are tips and tricks, be sure to put it in the comments.
You bet.
We read all the comments.
And I would love to see some of these particular builds. If anybody's got a few out there that they've done, there's a two-wheel drive version of this. I don't know what the name of that one in particular is, but I'd love to see some of the Schumacher builds out there because it's a really cool kit.
Well done.
You bet. Thanks.
Thanks for watching, guys. We're really happy to bring this to you with our amazing builder. And we'll catch you on the next one.
You betcha. Take care.